It's the first Sunday in Advent. Christmastime is here. ABBA was always very close to that time of year, but it would take more than 50 years until they finally wrote and recorded their first true Christmas song. The road to this song was long, but we got some fascinating treasures and connections along the way. Let's bring it all together in this exploration and general overview of ABBA's many projects related to Christmas. Hey. So, in 1972, ABBA was photographed together celebrating Christmas at Björn's and Agneta's house in Vallentuna. This was ABBA's first Christmas-related project as a group, but even before, with their individual Christmas projects, we can see how they gradually came together. The members of ABBA began early with their journey to Christmas music. It all started in 1967 when Benny gave us an entire Christmas album with his first band. Christmas with the Hepstars captures the joy and also the easygoing way of how the Hepstars were doing music. The album has psychedelic and humorous takes of traditional Christmas songs, like their version of Jingle Bells, which they sing in high-pitched vocals as if they inhaled helium. But there are also serious and atmospheric pieces, like the final 3 songs. This grand finale is a beautiful trilogy of songs which were all recorded in a church. Benny played the church organ. Stilla natt is one of my personal highlights. Another one is a traditional Swedish Christmas song, which means now 1,000 Christmas lights are lit. This song would become quite a staple for ABBA, as we will see in our journey today. 2 other personal favorites from this album are Christmas Today and the single from the album, Christmas on My Mind. Benny said at the time that he had written 3 or 4 brand new songs for this album, but none of them were included. As far as I know, we don't know what happened to those compositions. Benny's friend Björn Ulvaeus was in a successful folk group in Sweden, the Hootenanny Singers. Their first contribution to Christmas came 1 year later with a very nice rendition of Mary's Boy Child. That song would become very famous in the 1970s by Boney M. In 1972, we got one of the most beautiful projects from the ABBA members related to Christmas. Björn and Benny, by now songwriting and production partners, produced an entire Christmas album for their Polar music label. Many artists from the company were coming together with individual Christmas recordings, including Lena Andersson and Svenne Hedlund, who was the lead singer of Benny's band before ABBA, the Hepstars. Björn and the Hootenanny Singers would also return to Christmas music for this very special album and record that Swedish Christmas classic I mentioned before. The biggest highlight by far are 2 songs recorded by none other than Frida Lyngstad. For me, this is the highlight of the album, and I would even say a real highlight in Frida's entire recording career. 2 incredible songs performed with warmth and tenderness, just perfect to feel the spirit of Christmas and Frida's captivating voice. 1972 was also the year that our 4 members of ABBA recorded their first music together as a group. At the end of the year, they were together to give us that amazing photo session that was taken at Björn's and Agneta's house, their first Christmas project together. For the next 10 years, ABBA was conquering the world, became pioneers in pop music and our musical heroes. But they never recorded Christmas songs on record. However, we did get several bits and pieces of Christmas music and greetings from ABBA as a group. In 1976 and 1977, Björn and Benny played Jingle Bells on TV in Sweden and the Netherlands. In 1978, Agneta and Frida were together on Radio Luxembourg and gave us one of the greatest highlights, a beautiful performance of that traditional Swedish Christmas song. A second performance was the German Christmas song Stille Nacht, Heilige Nacht, known in English as Silent Night. It was performed by Agneta together with a young girl named Anke Engelke. She would become a famous German actress, comedian and host for television. Just recently, she reunited with Björn himself for a wonderful interview. But in 1978, Anke Engelke was at the start of her career and just another ABBA fan, singing together with Agneta on the radio. In the same year, Agneta recorded a beautiful winter-themed duet with Ulf Lundell for his 3rd album. The Swedish title of this song means Snow Falls and We With It. Another real highlight came 1 year later when Frida performed Silent Night in Swedish on Swedish radio. She was joined by Benny on synthesizer, and Frida gave us one of her mesmerizing operatic performances. You will find this and the other songs and performances here on YouTube. Over the years, ABBA also recorded many spoken word greetings. 2 Christmas greetings were released on flexi-disc in 1979 and 1982. On top of that, we were also treated to many unforgettable Christmas and winter-themed visuals of ABBA in music videos, TV specials and photographs. In 1976, ABBA was photographed behind a snowy window. This gave us amazing photos of ABBA and would become one of their most iconic photo sessions. One of the pictures was taken for the single release of Knowing Me, Knowing You. The music video for that song was also characterized by snowy landscapes filmed on the island where the ABBA members used to live at the time. In 1978, ABBA was guest on the Mike Yarwood Christmas show, where they also recorded a special Christmas greeting for Top of the Pops. In the same winter, in early 1979, we got the TV special ABBA in Switzerland, with snowy sceneries and winter atmosphere, as well as ABBA's music video for Chiquitita, recorded on the same location with a giant snowman in the background. In the same year, ABBA released I Have a Dream for Christmas season. Together with Happy New Year, these would be the 2 ABBA songs that were mostly associated with Christmastime, until we got Little Things 4 decades later. In 1980, ABBA drew Christmas pictures for the German magazine Bravo. The final Christmas music of ABBA together for the next 40 years came in 1981. This is actually the first time that a genuine Christmas song was recorded by all 4 members together. They performed a traditional Scandinavian Christmas song on German radio. In the following decades, the individual members of ABBA gave us occasional treats for Christmas and wintertime. In 1981, Agneta released her 6th solo album in Swedish, and it was an entire Christmas album. It was performed by Agneta with her daughter Linda and produced by Agneta herself together with ABBA's sound engineer Michael B. Tretov. Many players of ABBA's studio band were also playing on this album. One of my personal favorites is the song that was also recorded by Frida almost 1 decade earlier for that Polar Christmas album. Agneta's album was actually recorded in November 1980, but it was postponed and released 1 year later so that it wouldn't have any effect on the sales of ABBA's Super Trooper album. For Christmas season 1983, the fairy tale musical ABBA Cadabra celebrated ABBA and their music with contributions from Frida, Björn and Benny. In 1985, Agneta's TV special A for Agneta showed beautiful scenes of Agneta and Stockholm in winter. Apart from that, Agneta's Christmas album was kind of a finale of Christmas-related projects by ABBA and their members for many years. We would not see any true Christmas-related projects for the next decade. In 1991, Frida returned to sing a beautiful a cappella version on Swedish TV of one of her Christmas songs from the Polar Christmas album. In 1992, Benny played a 1-hour Christmas show on Swedish TV together with his new folk friends. They performed traditional Christmas songs as well as some of Benny's own compositions. The only other Christmas-related song in the 1990s was written and recorded by Björn and Benny for the musical Christina. The song was set on Christmas morning and was also released as a single. In 2004, Frida returned to music with The Sun Will Shine Again, which she recorded together with the late Jon Lord. On the occasion of one of her TV appearances in Germany, Frida recorded the first verse for In the Bleak Midwinter, which was part of the Christmas Experiment, a compilation of Christmas songs with Jon Lord, a choir and an orchestra. Apparently, it was a spontaneous decision by Frida to participate in the recording, and her vocals were pre-recorded in the studio. 10 years later, in December 2014, Frida launched a wintry ski suit that she designed herself. As a lover of mountains and skiing, she was inspired by the alpine regions surrounding her hometown Zermatt. Frida's aim was to go back to the more feminine ski suits from the 1970s. Her suit was produced by the Swedish clothing company J. Lindeberg. In the last 2 decades, we got bits and pieces from Björn and Benny for Christmastime, and it actually started with something that would turn out to be really historic and foreshadowing. In 2005, Benny released a mobile ringtone for the Swedish Red Cross campaign. The song was called Red Christmas, and this is the melody that would be resurrected for ABBA's first and only Christmas song in 2021, more precisely for the final children's choir piece in Little Things. Personally, I always loved this little ringtone melody, and I was so stunned and actually quite emotional when I was listening to ABBA's Voyage album for the first time, and this melody popped up in their Christmas song Little Things. Benny himself also seems to be very fond of the tune because he already adopted it in 2007 for one of the songs for Benny Andersson's orchestra. Before everything would culminate in the reunion of ABBA and their Christmas song, Björn and Benny would write more amazing Christmas songs. In 2010, Björn and Benny wrote a wonderful pop-oriented piece called Merry Christmas My Friend, which was recorded by the staff of Benny's own hotel Rival. As we have seen, the only full-length Christmas album by any of the ABBA members are the ones from Benny's band the Hepstars and from Agneta Fältskog. But in 2012, it basically came full circle when Benny's other band, his orchestra, recorded their Christmas album. Björn and Benny wrote another beautiful Christmas song together, Winter Harbor, for Benny's orchestra. Beside Winterham, my personal highlight is the final song. As I mentioned in the beginning, it is this song that became quite a staple throughout the years. Recorded on the Hepstars Christmas album by the Hootenanny Singers for the Polar Christmas album, and it was this song after all that was recorded by Agneta and Frida together for Radio Luxembourg. Furthermore, even Agneta's Christmas album is titled after the name of this song, and it was one of the many numbers played by Benny on that Christmas TV show in 1992, and now on Bau's album again. Also in 2012, Benny wrote a 13-minute piece for choir, one of my absolute favorite compositions from Benny. It means Written in the Snow, and it was also recorded in 2015 for Benny's choir album and 2 years later as a piano piece on Benny's album Piano. Björn and Benny also shared Christmas greetings for social networks over the years. One of the highlights was their vocal rendition of Silent Night in 2009 for Ice the Side, where Benny gave us one of his rare vocal performances with an amazing falsetto voice. Benny also recorded Jingle Bells for Ice the Side, one time on accordion and another time on synthesizer.
Have a good time.
But with all these cozy and enchanting projects on records, on film and in photo sessions, who would have thought that first of all, ABBA as a band would come back in music in the 21st century, and on top of that, actually write and record a true Christmas song. So when ABBA came back with their brand new album after 40 years, they also took the opportunity to finally record their first Christmas song, Little Things. This also happens to be ABBA's final single to date. From my very first listening, I was thrilled with this song. The warm atmosphere, the touching voices of Agneta and Frida and their tight union, the stripped-back arrangement with Benny's piano, and the song's unpretentious modesty, beautiful orchestration, and wonderful melodies. Little Things always brings me back to this truly unique period, not only to one of the most heartwarming Christmas seasons, but to this wondrous and unforgettable time when ABBA historically returned to gift us with music. Around the same time, we also got the reunion photo of ABBA in the snow and the mini videos documenting that historic moment. It perfectly symbolizes ABBA's return, and I think it resonates especially because it captures ABBA in their golden years of life. A photo of life and survival. They evolved artistically and personally, and it shows us that after so many decades, you can still be the best of friends and you can still have a happy ending. They have a story and it survived. It's about resilience, and ABBA are the ultimate survivors. It's those little things. It's just a photograph, but it means so much. Who would have thought that this journey through ABBA's Christmas projects would culminate like that? But 2 years later, we can see that this moment in time just gave even more energy for new Christmas projects from the ABBA members. Since then, Björn is treating us every Christmas season with deadpan, hilarious videos knitting merchandise for ABBA, together with Ian McKellen. Just these days, a new video was released, this time also featuring Kylie Minogue, and this is one of my absolute favorites so far. 2 years after ABBA's return with Voyage, Agneta herself returned with a brand new song and her celebration album A+. The most recent surprise from this project was a Christmas edition of her own composition, I Keep Them on the Floor Beside My Bed. That makes it the first time since her Christmas album from 1981 that Agneta as a solo artist released Christmas-related music, and even more so, it is her first Christmas release as a solo artist in English language. And this brings us to the present day, all the way from 1967, where our journey through ABBA's Christmas-related projects began. So from all of these Christmas songs, winter photos and videos, which are your favorite projects? Have you known all of these happenings before? How did you experience it back in the day? Feel free to share any of your memories and thoughts about ABBA and Christmas in the comments below. I loved exploring all of those Christmas-related projects by ABBA, and I hope you enjoyed this video as well. To everyone who is celebrating, I wish you a Merry Christmas, and to everyone else a wonderful time as well. Alright, until then, hey do!